We're gonna do a free reign. We're gonna ask you a bunch of questions. So, Bill, you start.
Today is 9/11. You've seen a lot of history in your years as a journalist and as a journalism educator. Put 9/11 in some kind of
I'm gonna be
perspective for
official.
us.
I'm now interviewing you
Yeah.
officially.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of hard to do that, Bill, but
Was it bigger than you
I
thought?
guess I guess 9/11 was the biggest tragedy that I ever witnessed. Uh, Perhaps rivaled only by the assassination of John F. Kennedy, uh, whom I admired greatly and had the unpleasant duty of covering a large part of his demise. On the day that that happened, I happened to be taking a swim at the New York Athletic Club.
What were you wearing?
Nothing,
And why was that?
because at that time they did not admit women to the New York Athletic Club, and so we swam nude. Now the women can be members of the club, full members, but they have to wear suits. At any rate, one of the ladies who I still see, who lives out on Long Island, called me, and the attendants got me out, and she was crying, and she said, "Oh, Professor Lower, they've shot the president." She didn't say they'd killed him, and so because he wasn't dead at that time. So I quickly dressed, and that was only 6 blocks away from ABC, and I was there for the next four days. But we canceled every commercial for the next week.
Was that the first time ABC had ever canceled all commercials?
And I don't think they've done it since then.
Probably September 11th.
Did they do it that day?
Yeah.
Nice bridge
Yeah.
between us.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that was the first time. We were in Leonard Goldenson's office. Leonard Goldenson, for those who have forgotten their history, was the largest owner of ABC. He had bought the Blue Network from NBC. Anyway, we were sitting in his office, and Howard Smith, who came back from a trip, wandered in there for some reason, and we said, "Well, what do we do?" And I've forgotten who it was, but it was consensus of the 5 or 6 people in that room that it would be unseemly to follow up a commercial for Wheaties after having buried John F. Kennedy. So that's the way it happened, and we we managed to get through some way, but that was the biggest challenge.
You've always been such a passionate, dedicated journalist and always encouraged young journalists to be a good writer. Talk about that, because today I got microphones, I got computers. Well, why do I need all this writing stuff?
Yeah.
What's the role of writing in journalism in the 21st century?
Well, I start every class by good writing, and just tell the students that they have to figure it out for themselves on how they express, how they describe a certain scene or a certain action, and some do, some learn, some don't learn. Uh, it's 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 something that everybody's not a good writer, but and there are jobs that don't require good writing. But if you want to be sure and be a journalist and express yourself, you have to eventually come up with good writing.
And Then what's the relationship of pictures? Because you worked for Life magazine
Oh,
for a
yeah.
number of years, and television is all about pictures. So what's
Yes.
the relationship between pictures and writing?
Right. Well, uh, pictures, pictures and images, pictures and words for anything that pretends to be uh, multi, multi, you have to make, you have to, uh, you have to make them go together rather than just uh, say here's the picture, here's the word.
So you have to write to pictures.
Yeah, you have to write the pictures, and you can't just duplicate what's going on.
Other than good writing skills, what do you think?
What?
Other than other than good writing skills, what do you think it's important for students to know about being a journalism student? What can you, as a former professor and someone who's probably one of the most prestigious journalism figures here at the Centennial Celebration, what other lessons can you give students so we can learn from you?
Well, in a short time, it's hard to do that, but uh, I think it takes a full course in journalism to do this. 4 years is about right. I have no objection to students taking graduate courses, but in journalism, if they want to and can afford to. But certainly, they get shortchanged if they leave here without learning to write legibly.
Writing is the most important thing.
I think so. Uh, I spent most of my life writing one thing or another, and for a variety of publications. Uh, Sometimes successfully, sometimes not. Sometimes not. I didn't always hit it right the first time.
Fantastic. Thank you, sir.
Okay.